Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Alaska Report. I'm Senator Lisa Murkowski, and my guest this month is Major General Thomas Katkus, who's the Adjutant General of the Alaska National Guard and the Commissioner of the Alaska Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. General Katkus is a proud, lifelong Alaskan from just outside of Wasilla who joined the Alaska Army National Guard in 1977. He received his commission in 1980. And since then, he's served in a variety of units around the state, rising to become the Adjutant General in 2009. He is the highest ranking in the Alaska National Guard. In addition to his service in the Guard, General Katkus served over 21 years on the Anchorage Police Department. He retired in 2000. That's over 30 years of service to our state and to our country. In his role as Alaska Commissioner of Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, General Katkus oversees the Alaska Veterans Affairs Office as well as the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. It's my pleasure to welcome such an accomplished Alaskan to the Alaska Report. General, I want to thank you for taking time out of your exceptionally busy schedule while you're here in Washington, D.C. to come and join us on the Alaska Report and kind of speak to Alaskans about what is going on. There's so many really great things to be proud of when we think about our Guard and those who are serving. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to just kind of brag a little bit about what we have going for us in the state of Alaska.
Senator, thank you. Thank you for having me here. And the opportunity to kind of brag on our uniformed members that are out there, our young men and women in service today, is incredible. Their initiative, their enthusiasm, their excitement to serve is incredible. The new concept for the National Guard, we've been at war for 10 years, and we're moving from a strategic reserve to an operational force. And that concept is not lost on Alaskans in that we have been an operational force for quite some time now. And I'm going to go through just a little litany of what we do as far as our operational force. We'll start off with our Army Guard in Greeley. Now, going on 5 years, we've been at the helm 24/7 monitoring this nation's missile defense program.
And that's a new mission for you, a
great
great mission.
Incredibly complex, integrated within the defense in a global environment. And our National Guardsmen, our Army National Guardsmen, are there 24/7, working for the President when they're on duty at the controls, and working for the Governor when they are in their status as National Guardsmen outside of the requirements, working for the protection of our country in that particular aspect. And you go just down the road a piece, 90 miles over a mountaintop, and you're in Clear, where we've got the Air Guard monitoring that sensor. And that's for space surveillance. On the Air Guard side, equivalent mission, they provide security, they maintain, control, and operate that facility. So you've got two major areas of our service, the Air National Guard and the Army National Guard, working in space surveillance and space defense. Those systems are incredibly complex and technology. Those are cutting-edge missions. Then you drop back to our tankers that are up at the 168th up at Eielson. They provide all of the fuel that is required when ALCOM sends a F-22 or a fighter forward to protect our northern border. It's those refuelers that are on an active, working again for the President in defense of our nation to provide fuel for those fighters. The communication for those fighters is conducted by the Air Control Squadron based right there at the ALCOM headquarters. Another 200 National Guardsmen, Air National Guardsmen, providing support to our active duty forces. And then, should there be a mishap, should there be an issue, those are the people you read about all the time in the paper, are great pararescue men that are out there with C-130s, HH-60 helicopters, and those famous PJs that go anywhere in Alaska and not only provide the top cover for our military engagement forces, but all of our civilian assets that are out there that find new and different ways continually in Alaska to hurt themselves or get in trouble. So again, you just look at that as a brief snapshot of our military in Alaska, plus the number of deployments that they're constantly going on. It's pretty incredible.
How many National Guard in the state right now?
Roughly, we've got 2,000 Air National Guard and almost 2,000 Army National Guard. So an equal mix. Unusual for a lot of states. We're a fairly small state when it comes to the National Guard, but we've got a pretty fair balance between the two services.
And how, you've just described some of the missions, which, hey, if you're a young person looking for great opportunities, there's a lot to choose from when we talk about the Guard. How do we do with recruitment? This is an all-volunteer force that we're talking about. How does Alaska stack up?
We are doing very good because our services have a great attitude. The Air Guard, the Army Guard, all of our services, active component, are approaching uniformed military service in a holistic manner. We include the family members. We include the members that protect the presence of the soldier or airman or our military folks, the employer. We engage the employers through Employer Support Guard and Reserve and make sure that they are involved in support of our members. The families, absolutely critical that we not only attend to their needs during a deployment, but it continued to address all of their daily requirements, drill weekends, annual trainings, transfer of education benefits, so many different methods to involve those family members. Then looking out for those young folks that want adventure and opportunity. You can join the pararescue folks and jump into the middle of Ketchimak Bay in the wintertime, or you can climb McKinley, or you can deploy to theater, and you can use every single skill set that you are trained in, and you can actually save lives doing it. You've got the ability to go out there and operate some of the newest equipment in today's military inventory. The Army Guard in Alaska is now receiving a lion's share of the new trucks and the new rolling stock that not only make Alaska safer, but provides those young soldiers and our airmen the opportunity to fly and or operate some of the best equipment the military has to offer. And what's really good about the National Guard is, like you mentioned in my career, you get to do two things. You serve your community. You work right outside your hometown with neighbors and friends you know. You can deploy with your friends, come back home at the end of your deployment, and step right into a natural disaster of some type, or protecting your friends and relatives. But you're there representing the very best this nation has right there in your hometown.
Speak to the deployments that are underway currently, and some of the deployments that the Guard has been involved with, because I think that that's something that, again, is something that has evolved of late. It used to be that you joined the Guard, and as you say, you were right there at home. We're seeing a change, and we're seeing our men and women within the Guard being deployed to different areas. The
thing about the National Guard, every man, woman that is in the military service today is here on a voluntary basis, knowing we've been at war. So that's a great thing. Everybody has gone through a term of service. They're not here just for education benefits, just to do home station training. They know and expect they're going to be going to war. Now, our soldiers and airmen, they come on board and they're prepared to do their mission. They are prepared to move forward and protect, again, the communities and our nation as a whole. They are really in a position that can come forward and do the job that's required of them.
There was I think a little anxiety several years back after the latest round of BRAC closures and kind of the realignment, if you will, from Coulis, moving where basically the home for the Guard in South Central, and now you are safely tucked in over at Jay Park. Can you explain how that move has transpired? Is everything working as intended, and everybody kind of settled in a new place, a new environment, and working in perhaps a little bit different manner over there at Jay Park?
Senator, it's a great question, because 5 years ago, when the move was first announced, BRAC said the National Guard base of Coulis had to move over to Elmendorf. You would have thought that the sun was not going to rise tomorrow. And rightfully so.
Anxiety.
Absolutely. They had a tremendous facility. It had a lot of history. They put their heart and soul into developing a very great facility that supported their mission. However, as I described, the missions change. The C-17 mission, which is on board, another active duty association, which I had not mentioned earlier. We are side by side with active duty of the 3rd Wing, flying C-17, the ACS, the Air Control Squadron on Elmendorf, the C-130 mission, the expansion and requirements, we outgrew Coulis. And rightfully, a great decision to move over to a facility that provides better support, a better airfield, a more focused wartime mission. When the folks got over there and realized they didn't get secondhand facilities either, the facilities are phenomenal. They're new. They match the expectation of our soldiers and airmen they're looking for today. They need to be treated with the respect and dignity for their service. And those facilities over at JBER is a reflection of that. So they've got very good facilities. They are very appropriate to their mission. They have plenty of room to grow. And this is a toehold too. You realize how long it took to grow Coulis. Well, for a first step, this is a pretty good first step. And as they look and find out where there may be shortfalls or other areas as the missions continue to evolve, we'll continue to engage and develop those facilities. But I see it as it's the first step in JBER becoming a National Guard facility. I say that facetiously, but we're going to be there longer than a lot of the people that rotate through, and we're going to have the subject matter experts, the expertise, that we're going to be able to make a great presence there. And what a great recruiting opportunity being right there.
Well,
in JBER.
the integration is so key, and we know that in other areas in the lower 48, there have been very concerted efforts to try to do greater consolidations and to integrate so that you have the joint basing concept, and taking the unit there at Coulis, integrating it at Elmendorf. I think I said J Park, I meant to say JBER. I'm still thinking of the training grounds up north, but I think we have demonstrated that not only can it be done, but it can be done very successfully. But it takes commitment, it takes leadership from above, and it does take the right resources, as you say, knowing that you're moving into facilities that are what you need and as expected is important too. So that's good to hear that it's all doing as we had hoped.
Senator, I really have to give a shout out to Lieutenant General Atkins, the ALCOM commander, and Colonel Rob Evans, who General Atkins brought on to really set the stage for success for JBER and the integration of the whole community, and to reach out now and engage the National Guard and make them feel welcome on that facility. I've been to other joint bases, and by far, JBER, Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, focused effort, directed effort, not a secondary task or any other job priority than Colonel Rob Evans' engagement to make that a success, and he has done just that. He has done exceptionally well. Senator, I skipped a little bit there when we were talking about deployments, because you'd asked specifically about those deployments, and I just wanted to get back to that a little bit, because I kind of finished that, yeah, we're doing a great mission, but I didn't say what great mission we're doing there. So right now we're in a little bit of a lull in that we do have soldiers deployed in the C-12. They're flying missions over in Afghanistan, and there's only about 12 in that aviation unit. But in November, we're looking at about 135 folks from an airborne infantry unit out of Bethel that'll be deploying for a year. And they're going to be moving forward, and that's probably one of our larger deployments in quite some time. Yeah. And they'll be moving into harm's way, and again, very well prepared, great equipment, great mission. In the meantime, we have a small security forces detachment out of Eielson that's currently over in Iraq, and they've been engaged there for some time, and they'll be due back in several months. So although we've got kind of a small footprint right now, the deployments are going to continue. We have several of our helicopters, about half of our fleet, that are stay-behind equipment over in Iraq, and we'll be looking at another company of aviators going over there that'll do the recovery and the year-long deployment with that equipment on the horizon. So.
Well, we are just exceptionally proud of those Alaskans that go over, the training that they have received, just their abilities, the confidence and the skill and the professionalism that we see. We're very proud of. Not to suggest that those who deploy and are over in Iraq and Afghanistan are more special than those who serve us at home, but we do recognize the risk that they face and the stress that the families then undergo as they deal with the separation. But when you talk about risk, you know, the National Guard and we think about the rescue operations that you conduct on an almost daily basis around the state. Alaskans, maybe we live a little bit more on the edge than in other places, but things happen. People get stuck on mountaintops, weather comes in, you've got situations where we call on our National Guard for search and rescue. We always worry about natural disasters, whether it is an earthquake, whether it is a tsunami. We've got stuff that happens. From the emergency preparedness side of your job, is Alaska prepared for all that we need to be prepared for?
Recently at the Emergency Preparedness Conference, George Vikalis did a presentation, and he basically stated a very accurate fact. You can never be prepared, but you can be better prepared. You can always be better ready, but you'll never be completely ready. And I think that's a very accurate statement. We are very, very blessed in Alaska to have a very great resource by having the Joint Pacific-Alaska Range Complex, which drives the requirement for our pararescue presence up there because we have a training range. And those assets are released continually to basically perform real-life rescue missions, but get some unbelievable practice. And that shows when they go to theater and actually perform their federal mission. The Anchorage Daily News had a recent article on a mission called Operation Bulldog Bite. And it is a phenomenal story of our pararescuemen and the saving of lives in theater. And if anybody can Google that and bring that up, it is an incredible story. But that's the type of resiliency and responsiveness that our airmen in the pararescue team develop because of the situations they're exposed to in Alaska. Now recently, with putting my commissioner hat on, we had a great week in Alaska. And we started off with Crooked Creek. Our preparedness there, we had what we term in Alaska as ballistic ice. Now, how is ballistic ice? Well, it's pretty fast-moving ice, and it tears out houses along Crooked Creek. We have moved in there and provided 9 homes to the community. And these are specially built homes that have an R60 wall. I had never seen an R60 wall, but you can heat these with a candle. So they're very efficient design that we've managed to develop. It's a much quicker, cheaper way to provide a response to our people in need of an emergency. So Crooked Creek is a community that suffered a disaster in the spring and are ready to go forward by winter time. And basically have reconnected. Now, that was part of the week. The other beginning of the week started off with that great groundbreaking that you were in attendance with for the Tanana River Bridge. What a tremendous opportunity that provides access year-round to a phenomenal training area. Again, Alaska stepping out and saying, we are open for business. The military is an important resource to us. We want the military's presence in Alaska, and we can provide some of the best training that they'll get anywhere on the planet Earth. And with the completion of that bridge, although they'll be able to get railroad cars and trains across that bridge, the first vehicles across it are strikers because they'll be able to access that training ground year-round. And again, with the weapon systems we have now, the engagement exercises require joint operations. We can bring the Navy, we can bring the Air, and we can bring the Army together in a single place on the planet and train real life. So J-Park is an incredible opportunity, and that bridge was key to making that a very relevant opportunity. So after the groundbreaking, the next day Crooked Creek, we had Crooked Creek out there and addressed the community's needs. But then aerospace, Alaska Aerospace is now under the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. And they launched a TAC-4 satellite, a Navy satellite, into space that provides better communications not only in our northern area, but also in Afghanistan and places as remote as that in direct support of our military. So you've got those 3 major events. And then we started off another youth academy with 190 folks on board to start again, 22 weeks of misery, but you see what that 22 weeks turns into. Those young men and women coming out of the youth academy are changed individuals. And so we are shooting to try to get our highest graduation class yet, and we're going to strive for that. So great week when all of that comes together.
It's good news about the Challenge program. That is, it's phenomenal what you do with those young people, and I'm just exceptionally proud every time I have an opportunity to see them. Incredibly important part of your portfolio as the Adjutant General is the Veterans Affairs. In the time that we have remaining on the show here, I'd like you to speak to how we are caring for our veterans, the role of Veterans Affairs on the state side. This is so important for a huge constituency in Alaska. So many men and women have served our nation honorably and then choose to come back to Alaska and call this home. So if you can just kind of talk about where we are and what we're providing for all of our veterans.
My director, Verdi Bowen, is an incredible individual and has the responsibility of over 77,000 veterans. And as you look across the board, first of all, it is inversely representative. Only 1/3 of our veterans have registered for benefits. 2/3 have not. And I'm not sure if it's the military culture of, I'm okay, if somebody else needs it more than I do, but we need to get our veterans educated on the earned benefits that they so rightly deserve and have access to those benefits and facilities that best promote their health, their well-being, their family, their economic condition. All of that's very, very important to the state of Alaska. So we have provided better access. We're trying to move off of JBER in this capacity because we're finding veterans don't necessarily like to go through a front gate, through a secure facility. So we've got a small office out at Alcantara in Wasilla. We're looking to expand our operation into the Muldoon area and try to get our veterans service areas off the base. We're also trying to bolster our veteran service officers, and those are the officers that are hired and maintained by our veteran organizations. And they know best on who can reach out to those community members and provide information. They're trusted, and try to get our veterans on board. So again, trying to increase our veteran service officer presence, increase our ability for access into our own facilities, then more importantly, trying to take care all the way till, this may seem a little strange, till death. The cemetery in the Fairbanks area. We've secured an area that we're looking at now that is a very nice land just near Fox, outside of the Fairbanks area. We're looking at that. We're working. DNR was, the Department of Natural Resources was great. They gave us the land to choose from. We're going to get out there and start to develop that. Now, when you're talking a cemetery, you're talking a national cemetery equivalent cemetery run by the state, but to those exacting standards. And what better way to pay our final respects to our veterans than a final resting place that's dignified and that has that area of quality. Another aspect that we've got in the National Guard is our funeral honors team. Our funeral honors team have been inundated with performing funeral services, the last duty and respect, in full uniform, services all across the state. And there's an unwarranted, it's an unbelievable demand for their services. And the families and the members that watch this dignified respect at the funerals is incredible. Verdi Bowen has continued to recognize our ATG members in presenting medals and awards and making sure we have made contact and identified every living member of the ATG. We have now gone and trying to engage the families in those communities that have ATG membership and trying different methods to even more effectively get their discharges and awards and recognition to them. And we're having great success in doing that.
Long overdue for those folks who served us so honorably. That's a great effort, though.
It has really come together. And there's been members of the community that have been great. A real, in a sense, thorn in the side, but a good thorn in the side, because it really motivated everybody to get behind this and get it done. Time is ticking, and we needed to get out there. So with the cemetery, too, time is ticking on our aging veterans, World War II. We aren't going to have a chance to wait. So we're very aggressive in trying to address that particular aspect and get that taken care of. So all in all, we are definitely stepping forward in an even greater effort of looking out and addressing the needs of our veteran population. Alaska is a great place for veterans. It's an unbelievable support facility as far as the state goes. No, I don't think there's another place on the planet in the United States where the community is more respectful and acceptable to paying thanks and just acknowledging the service that our men and women have performed. So great community, And we are going to do everything we can to attract more and more military members to stay, after their term of service, to stay in our community in Alaska.
Well, you do an exceptional job, and I know that the veterans appreciate a great deal. The families appreciate a great deal. We've been talking about a cemetery for the military up in the interior for a long time, and the benefits to our ATG members. Many of these were issues that had foundered for a while, and so it is rewarding, it's gratifying. I'm sure that our veteran community appreciate a great deal the leadership that they are seeing, your leadership as you are making a difference from not only those that are very senior and retired veterans, but to those young men and women that may just now be thinking about a career in the military as they are participants in the Youth Challenge program. So you've got a full spectrum there, and you continue to really honor us all by the professionalism and the manner in which not only you lead, but those who are serving us here in the state. We greatly appreciate it. I thank you for the time that you've given us today. I think for our viewers to know and understand the many different roles that our National Guard plays here in the state of Alaska is incredibly important. So thank you for sharing all of that. And to those of you who have joined us, I thank you. We're out of time again, but please tune in next month for the next edition of the Alaska Report. Thanks so much.